The world has changed fundamentally and continues to change before our eyes. This is indeed an age of radical uncertainty. And the leadership challenge in times of such change is to understand, to respond, and to explain. The British people understand this. They recognise we are living in a world that is more confrontational, more turbulent, and more unpredictable than most of us have experienced in our lifetimes. When the Prime Minister spoke to the House in February, he promised to produce a national security strategy that would match the scale of the task ahead. And the strategy we published today does that with a plan that is both clear-eyed and hard-edged about the challenges that we face. It sets out a long-term vision for how we will do three crucial things. First, protect security at home. And we will do that by defending our territory, controlling our borders, and making the UK a harder target for our enemies, one that is stronger and more resilient to future threats. Secondly, promote strength abroad. It sets out...
like he said, Shalom, all praise to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushua, Ba'Shem HaKadosh. The one to say apostles and elders are going to most on the real well, and Shalom to the brothers doing the work saying the truth. Yeah, it's really been since Trump got in, the general UK anyway EU has been pushed more towards militarization and preparation for war, World War III, and obviously the situation with Russia is a key focus for Europe. But what's the Iran situation has thrown further into the mix, stirred that destruction's close. The winds being held back, because as I say, Brits must actively prepare for war on UK soil. This is on the Mirror. Brits must actively prepare for war on UK soil, chilling a government strategy warns. And I played a bit of what he was saying. And it was, a matter of the state of the times now, where it's become clearer that it's all kinds of fucked. It's peak as fuck out here. Like a lot of it's peak as fuck out here. A lot of these different nations are now seeing that that military conflict is being stirred, it's being brewed, and now it's gonna hit their lands, and then people are gonna have to basically hold that in general. It's like in Europe, it was like Sweden, Norway, I believe, Finland as well, where they were basically saying that there's going to be mandatory what's the term, like military training. I don't think service, I think training, but then it was basically like, if an invasion happens, you expect to be fighting. And that's the same thing for like for all the countries. Once it's on, so it gets peaked, then they're gonna start saying like, yo, you're gonna have to fight for the country or else. And it's gonna very easily push towards that. So I'll read on a bit more. It says the government's long-awaited national security strategy says the nation's World War II spirit will need to be mobilised, as it said the UK homeland may face a wartime scenario. The British public must actively prepare for war on UK soil, a chilling government document warns. The newly published National Security Strategy said the years ahead will test the nation with a World War II style spirit needed to deal with growing threats. It said tackling the danger of nuclear weapons will be more complex than it was even in the Cold War. The document went on to warn that major powers like China and Russia are seeking to gain an upper hand in outer space, cyberspace, the deep sea, and at the Arctic and Antarctic poles. So yeah, they're looking to push, they're looking to to compete in these areas, and even weaponizing space was something that came back in a big way in Trump's first term. His first term was when he basically, what was it? Not that, was it called the Star Wars program? Nah. Well, I think he basically did like part two, second leg of the Star Wars program. The Empire Strikes Back. In revitalizing it and further weaponizing it, and that's something that has been. No, it's been clear that it's gonna be a battlefield, and it's what do you call it? It's really for preparation for Yahweh Shai's return, because the key to everything is is the scriptures, prophecy. And that's where, these, as far as for these elites, they're trying to fulfill those things. So what does it say? And people also warned that hostile groups may join forces with terror groups and criminals to carry out attacks on those shores. It states, for the first time in many years, we have to actively prepare for the possibility of the UK homeland coming under direct threat, potentially in a wartime scenario. Yeah, the homeland coming under, and I think that's been a big part of the push in Europe, where they're saying, like, because Russia's so close, and because as soon as they wrap up with the hell is it called? As soon as they wrap up with Ukraine, then going further into Europe is viable, and that's part of why Poland's trying to like court America with getting them to bring missiles into the country, and then place their missiles in the country, and then it's just been a general shift of further militarization, because it's now's the time and everything's coming to a head. And then as when you're in it's the same with what's happening in the state of Israel. When you've in a state of war, you can just put like the gut heat, like Netanyahu's been cooked. He was supremely cooked before the war kicked off. His career was non-stop going through corruption trials. Like he's a criminal. That entire war situation is what's maintaining his political career and keeping him out of jail. So because of these things, that's that wartime situation, you can justify and get things through legally, legislation wise, that would be more difficult otherwise. And it wouldn't even be a surprise to see, because in the UK, what is it, the digital passports, digital driving licenses in an app, that's being pushed forward. And then there's the talk of in the US of wearables as well. Probably do a video on that as well. But as far as the militarization situation, when it's a state of war, then further things are justified. Because this is like South Korea, they're still at war with North Korea. So every guy in the fucking in the country, every guy in the fucking country has to do the 2 years military service, mandatory military service. So it's and them men just have to hold that. You don't do that, you're fucked. Meanwhile, the government's corrupt as fuck. It's funny as hell. Warning of hostile states acting within the UK. Keir Starmer said the country is in a period of radical uncertainty. He has pledged to spend 5% of GDP on national security within a decade. A move, the strategy says, will draw together civilian and military priorities in a way not seen since 1945. And yeah, people talk about the Tories are gonna, Labour gonna come in and save up everything. They're gonna free up money for everyone. They're gonna nice everything up. They're gonna bring all the migrant them in, But you know, man, forget it was under the fuck is this guy called, man? It was under Blair, where they had the big push with It was under Blair where they had the big push with the Iraq War. Like it was, you know, it was Labour, so it doesn't really matter what party's in place when it comes to military spending, militarization and whatnot, and further development of the you know, the government military spending. That can very easily happen, and it's something we're seeing. And then as well, you know, given the circumstances, then it can justify stricter rules within the land as well. And that's something I wouldn't be surprised to see. Because as far as when it comes to restrictions on, you know, what they call freedom of speech or certain activities as well, then it's the UK's further along than a lot of other places. But yeah, it says what the document said, the years ahead will test the UK. The direction it takes and the decisions we take will reverberate through the decades. We'll need agility and courage to succeed, but we should be optimistic. We remain a resolute country, rich in history, values, and in our capabilities. But most of all, there is a determination of the British people themselves. After all, we did not need to look too far into our history for an example of a whole society, say, the same World War II. So, you know, that militarization shouldn't be a surprise. And it's because, you know, that spirit's being pushed, man. It's sign of the times. Matthew 24:4, it says, And Yahushua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am the anointed, and shall deceive many. And you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So yeah, wars, rumors of wars. That's why they have, you know, these preparations being done. And then, you know, what's happening, and everyone's looking at Iran as a focal point of what would push that that military conflict heavily. I read this as well. Joel 3:9, it says, Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears, let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord Jehovah. So yeah, you know, beat your plowshares into swords, your pruning hooks into spears. It's not just, you know, the broke nations like Iran. Who the fuck is Iran? But these men are out here with nuclear facilities, where they can be a contender for the Middle East. You know, who's India? But then these, you know, India and Pakistan popping off war. Everyone's like, oh, it might be nuclear war. Could be a wrap. Could be all she wrote. You know, for Esau's system. But that's, you know, sign of the times, man. The weak saying they're strong. Everyone militarizing, and that conflict prepping, man. But then what? The key prophecies, you know, the MOTB, man. That's the main thing that's got to pop. So yeah, I'll leave it there. Shalom. Shalom.